parent shit. Welcome back to another little mini episode of parent shit. Today we will be talking about villages. I named this segment One Man Village because this is a real life experience for me, right? I am all for villages, right? Helping raise your children, helping assist with your children, but there is a limit to villages. This is in no way like a guideline of any. This is just me sharing my experiences with y'all, and I know I'm not the only person that is going through this. So with villages, you have to be careful that the village is either healing, open to change, open to the way that you parent your children. It's not gonna be that easy. So if you have found yourself where you feel like you have a one-man village, meaning it's just you, then I want you to know that that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having a one-man village if your village is projecting things onto your children, be it intentionally or unintentionally. You get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people do things and say things without thinking. You know, they were brought up this way, their moms brought them up like this is the way that they talked. With me, I learned, because it haven't always been like this. The way that I parent now is not the way that I have always parented. Who's to say 2 or 3 years from now I won't be in a different space, you know, just as far as parenting my girls. But one thing that I have made sure that I have started doing is really checking my village when it comes to my kids. Like, unapologetically. If you have to grow, you're gonna have to grow thick skin. If you're gonna have a one-man village, you really need to grow thick skin. You need to know that setting boundaries will not always be the most popular thing. The main thing that's gonna be said about you is she don't want nobody saying nothing to her children, right? Be prepared for that. My answer to that is, it's not that I don't want you saying anything to my children. You just gonna watch what you say to my children, because, baby, we will not talk about their body weight. We will not talk about their hair being kinky. We will not talk about their skin being dark. If I hear or see something that I feel could be toxic, then I will definitely step in. And at first I used to be like, man, I don't want anybody to say that. I don't want to say that. I don't want them saying anything to my children or disciplining my children. But you gonna watch what you say to them. Now I don't care. I'll be like, oh well, you just gonna watch what you say to them. Because what I'm learning is people will fight more to discipline your children than they will to have a relationship with your children. And it's a sucky feeling, but that's the reality of it. And it may be unintentionally sometimes. Like, villages, they have worked. They have proven to work, because everybody need help along the way. Whether you just, your child, because our kids are not going to always listen to us. I'm learning to become the parent that I don't care where they get the information from, as long as they get it. You get what I'm saying? Now, villages don't always be coming from the best place. You know, sometimes people say stuff and it's like, I don't know if you know it or not, that like, that's not the most appropriate thing to say to a child, because then these kids come home, they look in the mirror, now they're going over, you know, if every time you see a child, you comment on their body parts, or you comment on this, or you comment on that, or you say things to them in a way that makes them start to question themselves as a person, physically, any of that stuff sets in with children. I am that intentional parent where I will be like, hey, and I try not to do it in front of my children. I will wait until after the fact, like, hey, don't say that to her. Yeah, don't. And when I say watch what you say to my kids, I have to make sure that they are respecting you. They can't say anything sideways to you. So I'm gonna make sure that they get the same respect that I'm making them give these adults, or any adult that we coming around. Just because they kids don't mean you can say anything to them. You cannot project your insecurities, your fears, your whatever you have, really that's within yourself. You can't project that onto my children. Okay, so just watch what you say to my kids, and everything is gonna be a-okay. I mean, you really gonna have to tell people that, like, just that blunt. You gotta be that blunt with people. It could be from spouse, significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, family members, friends, anybody in your village or in your circle. Y'all have to be on the same page when it comes to parenting, if that makes sense. Y'all don't have to always agree with everything, but there has to be a certain level of respect. If you bring your child to me, whereas 3, 4, 5 years ago, I'd be like, hey, when you bring them over here, this was gonna happen. But now I'm going more into how do you parent your child, because I kind of want to mirror that, because that's what that child is. One is really building a relationship with a child. People don't understand that with discipline, like, there has to be a relationship with the child, genuine relationship. Kids, I can yell at my kids, I can fuss at them, get on their butt, but 2 minutes later, we gonna be talking because they feel safe with me. They trust me. They know mama got their back. You know what I'm saying? So they have to first develop a relationship. Make sure your village is developing an actual relationship with your children, where your children trust them. They feel like it's a safe space. They can come to them about everything, or about any and everything. Develop that relationship so that when it's time for you to discipline them, it's coming from a good place. Because people will fight to discipline your kids and fuss at your kids faster than they'll fight to have a relationship with them. And then when you say, you can't say anything to my kids, they're going to hit you with, well, don't ask me to buy them nothing. You have to be okay with that. That's something that in your one-man village, if that's something that you can do, that's another thing that you have to be okay with. But when they say, don't ask me to buy them nothing if I can't say nothing to them, I challenge you to develop a relationship. Don't buy them one single thing. I challenge you to put that time into having a relationship with them. That's if you want the village. If you want a one-man village, it's doable, because the right people will align themselves with you. God gonna put the right people in your way and in place for your children, for your village to, the village might not always be family. It might not be friends. It might not be your significant other. Make sure your village don't project that shit on your children, because that's a real thing. There are adults that are jealous of kids. They say stuff to kids. Adults really be side-eyeing kids. And I know that, and I see it. I'm telling y'all, make sure your village is whole or healing or open-minded to your parenting style. If they not, then you might have to be a one-man village, or only fool with certain people that actually care more about the relationship with their child than being able to discipline your child. You get what I'm saying? Discipline is also very sacred to me, because you discipline them with no relationship, resentment will set in. And then you wonder, well, they won't talk to me. They won't say this to me. I'm trying to bond with them. You got to build a relationship first. Otherwise, they're going to be, hey, hi, bye. They're going to be cordial with you, okay? Set the boundaries. Be gentle with yourself, because sometimes you won't always get that. You won't always get it right. You might say the wrong thing. You might do the wrong thing. You might react in the wrong moment. When they just need to talk to you, you might react. Be gentle with yourself on those days that you don't always get it right, but be intentional about it. You mess up, apologize to your children, then correct it the next time. Like, that's really what it is. Set the boundaries. Make people respect those boundaries. If they not willing to, okay, wow. And be gentle with yourself as a parent. Like, if you have a one-man village, you got this, sis. You really can do it, because your kids are really gonna thank you later emotionally. You get what I'm saying? They're gonna thank you for not letting people play with them. They're gonna thank you for believing them. They're gonna thank you for coming to check and coming to see. I check everything with my kids. Like, if somebody say something, I'm gonna talk to my kids. I'm gonna get both sides of the story. If my kids, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna get on your ass because you knew this. But if it's an adult, I'm getting on the adult ass as well, unapologetically. But I gather all the information, then I move forward. So, villages, I feel like, are very helpful. Just make sure you got the right village. All right? That's your parent shit for today. It's time for me to take these braids down. Like, try to put a little headband, baby. These edges is doing the absolute most. But anyway, until next week.